We have Miss Latoya Fisher, I believe. Miss Fisher, is she on here?
Yep, I'm here.
There we go. Okay, I'll hand it right to you. Let you present your program. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Would it be possible to be granted the ability to share so I can share a PowerPoint presentation?
Absolutely.
You know, we just been boxing with Zoom. You know, so you know.
I'm telling you, have mercy on me.
Got it. I'm good to go. All right. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn about Peace Players today. My name is Latoya Fisher, and I'm the director of Peace Players Baltimore. And I got connected with Peace Players as a fellow in the Middle East. So I spent 2.5 years working in Israel and the West Bank. So that was from about 2015 to mid 2017. And then Peace Players partnered with Nike to start some sites in the US. And I was fortunate enough to come on in January to the US site. So super happy to be here to help them grow the program and excited to share with you all tonight. And so basically tonight, I just want to provide a little bit of an overview of who we are, where we work, how we work, and where we're at today when it comes to working in Baltimore. And so basically the crisis that Peace Players internationally saw is that there's a persistent socioeconomic inequality, educational and cultural segregation, limiting opportunities for positive interactions within and across diverse communities. And so what Peace Players' solution was to build a global youth peace movement through the use of sports. And so what we look to do at Peace Players is we look to foster connections in divided communities. We look to build skills in cooperation, interpersonal relationship building, and conflict resolution. And we look to empower the youth to be leaders within their communities and advocates for peace around the world. And we try to really nurture a sense of global belonging, and we try to do this all through sport. And so our vision is individual and communal connections that create a more peaceful world. And our mission is to unite divided communities through sport. And simply put, when the founders of the organization thought about Peace Players, they thought if we can play together, that we can live together. And so Peace Players is built on 3 core values, and they build on each other. So the first core value is seeing people as people. And so basically this just means that, you know, I have an outward mindset towards others. So I see their needs, their wants, and their desires as equally and valid as my own. They aren't vehicles for me to use or obstacles for me to overcome, and they're not irrelevant to me. So we create the space and ability to develop something to come up with all sorts of possibilities and solutions to our problems that honor the humanity of others. Next, you'll start to see an inside out transformation. And basically that's to think that to solve most of the difficult problems in my life, I first look inward and ask myself, in what ways may I not be seeing these people correctly? What assumptions have I brought to this conflict? In what ways might I be self-deceived? So it's the opposite of blaming and dehumanization that often plagues our conflicts. And lastly, we truly believe in the culture of collaboration. So when we're faced with a conflict with another, I'm committed to finding solutions that meet the needs of both of us. And I'm not going to avoid the conflict or give in. I won't try to win the conflict or compromise. And I'm going to engage the person with the respect for both that person's need and mine. And also the culture of collaboration carries over into everything that we do. So especially during COVID, we've really reached out to other organizations within the community to provide ways to get programming out to the youth and also just offer new and different opportunities because we really try to work through that equity lens. So it's really important that our participants are experiencing new and different things. So Peace Players operates in diverse conflict and post-conflict settings across the globe. And each site has its own unique history and culture. but all the programs adhere to our programmatic standards and each site is unique. So before 2016, Peace Players was operating completely international. And then they expanded to the US in 2017, and they're going to continue to expand within the US as well. So within the United States, Peace Players aims to develop a network of young leaders who come together across divides to create a more peaceful and equitable society. And we're hoping to enable youth to lead strategies to bridge divides. So we need to make sure that we create a safe place for them to develop as leaders in their communities and beyond. So Peace Players started in the US in 2017 when Peace Players partnered with Nike to bring programming here under the theme of Play Together, Live Together. So when we started in the US, we launched programs in Baltimore, Brooklyn, and Detroit in the summer of 2017, and then in Chicago and Los Angeles the following year. And so, like I said previously, we're really looking to create a more equitable society. A lot of economic and social disparities between racial groups remain widespread. So we're just hoping to kind of close that gap and really start a youth movement where we're helping to lift the voice of communities and people that are often overlooked. And so each program is led by staff from the city, and we operate in 1 to 2 communities, and we look to expand. And we do it through like a 2-tiered program structure, but after they've gone through the program, we do offer additional support. So basically we start with around age of 8. So that's around 3rd grade, and we take them all the way through high school. So when they're 8 through 12, or like that elementary to middle school age, we call that our Peace League or our pre-LDP. And so during that time, we really try to create a safe space where you can be, where you can have fun, you can be brave, you can learn to use your voice. And then they move into the LDP stage, which is our leadership development program. And this is where we start to focus more on the hard and soft skill development. And we try to help them build deeper relationships. And we try to talk a little bit more about the divide. And then hopefully we hope that it comes kind of full circle so that now these participants that have gone through our program are now coaches and also alumni. So they find different ways to work with us. They do mentorship, coaching, training, internships, and also like giving back to their community. And then even sometimes they may go to be staff other places, but they take these core values and the things they've learned from Peace Players to bring it and enhance the places that they work. So we want to increase our impact and change the way we work together, both professionally and personally. So a lot of times we look to go deep and not so much wide. So we're not so much worried about like quantity, we're more worried about the quality of the program. So we don't necessarily have a lot of participants that we work with, but we want to retain them through a long time. And so in Peace Players Baltimore, pre-COVID, we primarily worked with schools. We were in the Park Heights community during the year, and we worked in the Oliver community during the summer. And we had about 55 youth. So that was about 45 youth that were in our Peace League through Arlington Elementary School, and then about 10 to 12 leadership development youth from the Park Heights area. And we were able to gain back some of the participants from the Park Heights area that we were able to keep in touch with during the pandemic, but due to lack of access to technology and just more so worried about meeting like basic human needs and their roles and responsibilities changing because they were in the house, we weren't able to engage in virtual programming the way that we wanted to. But our coaches were still able to keep in touch and just kind of keep a pulse and see how they were doing. Currently, we serve about 20 youth from both the Park Heights and Oliver community, and we meet with them 3 times a week at the Oliver Community Center. So we've kind of shifted our strategy to working with a learning pod at the Oliver Community Center, so that we've been able to access and meet the kids in person. And we're hoping that like right now we're going to start rebuilding, and through working with the kids in person, if there is a chance that we have to go back into lockdown, we'll already know what type of access they have technology wise, be able to help them if they need computer access or they need an actual tablet or something like that, so that we can stay engaged with them. And also we've been looking for ways to collaborate with other organizations. So last week we did a workshop, a wellness workshop around physical and mental health with I Am Mentality. And we've been in talks with Girls in the Game and also Black Girl Global Exchange. So right now we know that a lot of the kids are facing that Zoom burnout, right? So just really trying to find new ways to engage them and again, still provide those unique opportunities for them to experience different things. If we are going to move to the virtual space, or there are people interested in virtual program, we're looking to serve a minimum of 50 youth, depending on the resources we have or the schedule we can come up with. We may be able to serve more than that. So we're really open to working with people, seeing what type of curriculum we can develop with them, and just seeing like what we can do. Some of the benefits that people have seen from our program is just leadership development, career readiness. During when we work with our leadership development program, there's a huge focus on them in the summertime through the Youth Works program, where they get to run the basketball clinics at the Oliver Community Center, as well as be mentors to the kids. And so it's different when us as the older coaches are saying something, and then when the leadership kids say it to the youth, they're more likely to listen because they feel like we're ancient, even though we might know what we're talking about. They've also got access to a global network. So we've been able to do some cool cultural exchanges, even though we're still in the virtual space. We were able to host like a joint activity where we had kids on from our sites in Cyprus, Northern Ireland, South Africa, the Middle East, as well as the US. And we did different activities with the kids where they got to interact with each other and get to learn a little bit more about the conflicts going on in that country, as well as one kid ran to the screen with a chicken, and it was really cool because we were playing a game and no one expected that. And then we just really provide a positive and safe environment for the kids. And then lastly, if you want to get in contact with us, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, I believe we're on TikTok as well, and Twitter. And our website is peaceplayers.org. Again, I'm Latoya Fisher, and I'm the director at Peace Players Baltimore. And also Chinny Nwagbo, she's our program coordinator. You can also reach out to her if you're interested in programming, or if you want to talk through ways of doing some type of collaboration. And if the kids or participants are interested in programming, everything is free of cost. And depending on where they're at, if they wanted to come to in-person programming that we're doing at the community center, we do provide rides at like a central location. So typically like a nearby school or something like that. So that is something that we can offer if transportation is a barrier for them. And that's it, in case anybody has any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Latoya, for the presentation. Want to make sure that people who are maybe just tuning in and kind of hopped in the middle of the presentation, right now we're doing a showcase of our grantees for the Baltimore Children Youth Fund. Ms. Latoya Fisher just gave a great presentation about the Peace Players. And so right now we're just talking through her program. We're just talking about her program and how to get young people enrolled. Latoya, I know you mentioned it already, but what is the best way for a person who may have just saw this, you describe your program, they're blown away, they're like, I need to get my kid in there now. How old do they need to be? What's the enrollment process look like? Do you give folks insight on that?
Yeah, so they can reach out to myself or my program coordinator, Chinny Nwagbo. My email address is lfisher, Fisher, no C, at peaceplayers.org. And Chinny's email address is cnwagbo. So Nwagbo is NWAGBO at peaceplayers.org. And we work with participants starting in 3rd grade through high school. But if they're interested in volunteering or internships or anything like that, they can reach out to us as well, and we'll try to work with them and get them some hours.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you, Latoya. If you don't mind staying on for a little bit, we're probably going to loop back around to each person to make sure that each group to make sure that folks have all that contact information for people who are watching live. But thank you again. Appreciate you. All right, so we're going to go to our last presenter of the evening, and that is the initiative. And we have Mr. Christian Gant, and I believe someone else too, right, Christian?
Yes, Don Gatewood.
All right, I'll take it away. I'll pass it right to you.
All right, good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Christian Gant, and I am co-executive director and co-founder of the Initiative Baltimore. And Don, you want to introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. My name is Don Gatewood, and I'm the other co-founder and co-executive director.
So I'll just get into a little bit about who we are and what we do. We are a mentoring and leadership program for young men ages 11 through 15 in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Our vision is a Baltimore community where every citizen's votes is educated about the political system and encouraged to develop community-driven solutions. So our real focus and goal is to help develop and bring about the next generation of leaders in Baltimore City. After the 2016 election, as you can imagine, there was a lot of tumult, and we Don and I thought, what can we do to give back? What is our contribution to this moment? And what we really noticed was, again, that especially in Baltimore City, we noticed that civic engagement, voting, et cetera, is a thing, unfortunately, it's decreasing. As we notice, our citizens are getting less engaged and less involved. So our thought process was, what can we do to contribute to this and help? And we also thought, again, we wanted to work with youth because, we figured civically engaged youth make civically engaged adults. So, our hope is, again, that people, young men who go through our program graduate with the tools to advocate for themselves, improve their own communities, give back, and just be, good citizens and good participants in, the city of Baltimore and what's going on, and, know how to, where the levers of power are, who to contact, and what to do for their own communities. And I will turn it over to Don to talk more specifics about the program.
So after a young person is officially a part of the Initiative Baltimore, we actually meet on a monthly basis. The first Saturday of every month, we meet in Sandtown, Winchester, a location in Sandtown, Winchester, every first Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.-ish. And we cover a number of topics. As Christian talked about, our mission is to help create the next generation of leaders, to help lead our communities, lead our neighborhoods, lead our households. And so in order to accomplish that goal, we deal with a number of topics. Our curriculum includes grappling with community problems and what are some of the possible solutions. We deal with what does the city government look like and what role does that play in us functioning as a city, but we also look at other practical things like developing public speaking skills, conflict resolution. We deal with bullying, things that are applicable and happening with our young folks right now. So our goal is to have a curriculum that's fully engaging with helping our young folks not only become leaders of tomorrow, but leaders of today. And we are able to provide that curriculum because we partner with so many amazing people. We are partners with Black professional men as well as Bridge Maryland, but we also have been so lucky to partner with a lot of other amazing organizations who have been guest speakers, guest presenters, including our most recent session that we had at Patterson Park. We dealt with gang violence and avoiding gangs. And we had Fred Watkins from Little Labs, Baltimore native. And we had City Council President Brandon Scott, who came out and spoke with our young folks about his story. and the benefits of leading in our community, as well as Why on the Fly, who provided the games and the fun. So we really have benefited from strong partnerships, and we recognize that as a community, we are stronger together, and we really do believe in that. But in addition to the actual sessions where we do the trainings, we also focus on volunteer events, because when we talk about community leadership, giving back to our community is one of the best ways to do so. And we've had a number of volunteer events and hope to have more, where our young folks have donated food and prepared food for people living with homelessness in Baltimore, as well as even when we were in DC during the field trip, they gave out food as well. So they were civically engaged, community focused, and demonstrating philanthropy and love for the community at a young age. And that's so good to see. But in addition to those volunteer events, we, as I mentioned, have the actual field trips. We had a chance to go to Washington, DC, not only to do the tour of our federal government, but also some amazing museums. And so they got a chance to really better understand how this structure in America works and how this system operates. And so we were very honored to do so. And some of the things that we do to help keep the kids engaged, although they're very engaged and very excited to attend because they've developed friendships along the way, we give them, based off their performance and their how they participate, they get stipends. So the young folks are eager to participate because they understand that there's a stipend that they can win, as well as we've done other things like give out school supplies and things that they may need to help them be successful. So those are some of the areas that round out what we do and how we go about accomplishing that goal. And I know that there may be some people who are interested in learning more about us. And of course, we want to share our contact information. But actually on October 31st, at Matthew Henson Elementary School, which is on Halloween, we're actually going to be doing a trunk or treat from 4 to 6. So if there's anybody out here who wants to know more about us, possibly get a chance to meet us face to face, we will be at Matthew Henson Elementary for trunk or treat, a great family event for our young folks. We'll be passing out not only snacks for Halloween, but also voting information, as well as COVID-19 packs. We're giving out masks, practicing social distancing, and really creating a fun, safe, festive environment that encourages community participation and celebrating the holiday.
And just to add on to what Don said too, we have been, due to COVID, we've been doing virtual sessions, although we did in-person sessions in September and October in the park, which was socially distant. But we were able to support our mentees during COVID with just doing a resource survey to see who needs a laptop, who needs food, and we were able to give them care packages. So that's how we were kind of affected by COVID. And we do still have seats available, if you're interested. So you can reach us on our website, www.theinitiativebaltimore.com, or on Facebook. And I also wanted to show you all a short video. We did a session on public speaking. So I just wanted to show you, a little bit about one of our young men and what they did. And I think I can share it seems like I can share my screen. So give me 1 second. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how do I make this big? I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Oh, why? Sorry, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties.
It's all right.
Y'all boxing with Zoom. It's all good.
Boxing with Zoom, exactly. Okay, there we go. Now, can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, this is one of our young men. And again, this was, we did a session on public speaking.
Go ahead, Phoenix. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm from Baltimore and I'm 11 years old. I'm going to
camera reported ahead.
And he always play around with him and stuff. Next one is why do I choose? I choose Funny Mike because he's funny, he's fun, he's cool and smooth. And I could just finish this right here.
Okay, so I can, there we go, that worked. So yeah, just a little bit about what we do. We do, like the other programs, we try to create a safe space for our young men, and they really have kind of bonded. But again, we're supporting the development as, leaders and young men and, the future leaders of Baltimore City. So again, that's just a component. I just want to give you all a sample about a little bit what we do. Don, you have anything else?
No, absolutely. I think that's a wonderful synopsis, and I look forward to answering any questions that anyone may have about what we do and how they can get involved.
Great. Now, first off, appreciate you all both for the presentation tonight. For folks who may have been watching, so can you help explain the types of, well, one, the young people, the age range of the young people that y'all accept, and also the types of skills that they'll have as a result of the program? Because I know you've already emphasized some of those, but some folks got it in a different point. So mind is
absolutely. So that's a great question. We work with young men who are the ages of 11 through 16. So that is our age range. So we work with young men who are in the middle school and in the high school, early high school age range. And in terms of what they will develop is really a sense of pride, being a citizen of Baltimore, a sense of pride about how amazing of a city we are and what contributions that are already being made and what opportunities they have in order to strengthen our communities even stronger. That's number one. But number two, a better understanding of our government and our city and how it works, but moreover, how they can participate in the process. One of the biggest challenges that we feel is that people sometimes feel hopeless, or they feel that sometimes that they don't have a voice or that they can't contribute to what's happening. And what we know is that if our young people better understand how this thing works, how the city works, the power in their voice, the power in who they are, then what we know is that they can see themselves as change agents and solution-driven members of our community. So that's the ultimate goal that we seek to accomplish with what we do.
Fantastic. We have a question in the chat box from Ms. Mary Alex. The question is, are you available to come out to other programs, and do you work with girls?
Is that Miss Mary? Is that Mary Alexander?
Go ahead, Christian.
I was like, that might be Mary Alexander. I'm not sure. But yes, we do work with other programs. Over the summer, we did some presentations for some youth work students with unique fabrics, where we kind of did like a Baltimore government 101, like, who is the city council, who is the mayor, what do they do, how can you get involved? So while our program participants are exclusively young men, we are available to come out and do workshops or, partner with other organizations in line with our mission. And I think that is her, so.
Great. Awesome. And what's the contact information for folks who want to reach out to you for enrollment and just, the website? Because I know you've already kind of mentioned some of those things, but for people who may have forgotten it, contact information and the best way to enroll the young people.
Sure. So the best way to enroll is on our website, www.theinitiativebaltimore.com. And the enrollment is entirely electronic. You have to just click a button and fill it out online, and then we'll reach out to you. So we can be found there. We also, of course, live on Facebook. That's the easy way to find us. theinitiativebaltimore.com. The Initiative Baltimore on Facebook. And just finally, email address, director@theinitiativebaltimore.com. So 3 ways to reach us. And our phone number is also on the website.
Got it. Thank you, brothers. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to give a little bit of space, some time and space for people who may be watching, if they have Q&A, if they have questions for any of the people who presented tonight. If you are just tuning in, you just got here and you're like, what are you doing right now? We're actually talking about youth programs in Baltimore and the people that are administering them through the wonderful programs and grantees of the Baltimore Children Youth Fund. If you're wondering who I am, my name is Adam Jackson. I am a part of the community engagement team here at the Baltimore Children Youth Fund. And just to make sure people are clear, the reason why we're doing this on Zoom tonight is because, we recognize that there are lots of wonderful, impactful institutions and programs in our community. And the lie that people are telling is that there aren't people in our community doing this work every day. But people that work with young people know that the work doesn't stop. And regardless of a global pandemic, regardless of any other public health emergency or any other emergency in our society writ large, we know that there are people doing this work every day. So we want to make sure we made space and opportunity to lift up people in our community doing this work. So that's why we're doing these showcases tonight, and we're doing one tomorrow night at 6 p.m. so you can get another dose and flavor of programs working with young people. And this is not just a panel discussion, this is to get young people enrolled. So if you actually hear something that you think will be good for a young person in your life, whether they're your child or someone in your family or a young mentee, then we strongly encourage you to hit these folks up. And if you need their contact information, if you didn't get it tonight, then feel free to email the Baltimore Children and Youth Fund team at info@bcyfund.org. So I think we actually have a question in the chat. Oh, Ms. Donna, what are some of the unintended outcomes as a result of your experiences working with youth in your programs? So we can actually field that to all the folks here on the call tonight from the Initiative, Blacks and Wax, and Peace Players. Again, the question is, what are some unintended outcomes as a result of your experiences working with youth in your programs? Anybody can take the question if you want.
I can jump off. I can think of two at the top of my head. One, I'm always taken by the way our youth have kind of formed like a real brotherhood with each other. For instance, when we came back in September after, being virtual for so long, they were just so happy to see each other and just like, it was like joyous. So like, that was a real, I'm very happy with the way they've kind of clicked and bonded and really started kind of looking out for each other. And I think, we've seen, this isn't the focus of our program, but we definitely seen some positive impacts on their behavior. Not that they were ever bad, but I would say, I've noticed a change since we started the program with the level of attentiveness and, and engagement during the program. Like, I would say at the beginning, young kids being young kids, they usually talk a lot, et cetera. But I think as we've gone on, their behaviors, improved and they're a little more attentive and engaged during the session. So that's just two things I've noticed.
Well, this is Joanne Martin from Great Blacks and Wax Museum. One of the benefits I feel of the programs that we've done directly with our youth is the involvement of their families. When we trained them to do the motor coach, the physical motor coach tour pre-COVID, the tourists is what we call them were the families, were the parents and their sisters and their siblings and so forth. They got on the bus and the kids did a tour for them. And to your left is the Baltimore City public school building named for Alice Pender Hughes. To your right is, and so the family was learning. We put them on a bus and the kids took them to the Hampton Mansion and did the tour. For the virtual segment of this, the parents were on Zoom with the children. So those have been true benefits in actually involving the parents so that they can see and become engaged in what their children are doing.
And I'll say within Peace Players, I think one of the biggest unintended outcomes is just their openness to kind of stepping outside of their comfort zone a little bit more and not even realizing it, and just being more willing to kind of try new things, or like accept challenges, whether it be at practice or through a curriculum activity that we're doing. Just really, kind of not being afraid to look vulnerable or mess up or look quote unquote uncool.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So I think for Mr. Walcott, there's a question about how many community-based orgs are participating. I think that if I understand your question correctly, Mr. Walcott, so for these sessions, for the showcases, we're trying to highlight all of the grantees from the Baltimore Children Youth Fund portfolio. And I believe that number, correct me if I'm wrong, Donna, is at 84. So there are a variety of organizations that have been, that are grantees of the Baltimore Children Youth Fund, but we're trying to make sure that, we elevate as many folks as possible. Another question is, any stories of how the program benefited the youth beyond the program? So from many of the programs we have here today, do you have any stories about how a young person came back to you and say they benefited after the program was finished?
I'm gonna jump in here. First, I'm gonna say I've really been informed and enjoyed all the things I heard about the programs that are available. And I'm jumping in here because I didn't want Dr. Mama Deborah Fakunle to beat me to this. When you say what have kids gained from our programming beyond the program, Dr. David Fakunle was 9 years old, and he's Dr. David Fakunle. And you might speak of his sister, Mary. She's an MD. And that's the kind of things that they gather. They are, and I like this point. And I'm 74, and we've been doing this for a long time. But you see, Dr. David Fakunle, he can be his unapologetic Black self. And our kids need this. What each of you panelists have shared that you do, I find it to be wonderful. I find it to be wonderful that we are all together like this, and that we are reaching out to our youth, providing them with other things they can do, other than some of the negative things that come to them just because, and or other things that they don't get because, or they might not get because of who they are. And when I say that, again, I'm talking about our Black selves, how it goes down, being Black. I'm 74 years old and have been Black in the United States of America. And I can share those tales and let them know that they can be anything that they want to be. The kind of experiences that they would have in the National Great Blacks and Wax Museum, and or the Grow and Griot Literacy Learning Program through the Griot Circle of Maryland. Just sharing our voices with our youth is a blessing.
Shay, appreciate that, Bobby. Okay. Anyone else have any input on that? And I think I may have worded the question wrong, but asking or whether youth shared any of their new skills or experiences with other young people when they left the program. So like, and I know and Baba just lifted up an example of Dr. Fakunle with the Great Blacks in Wax Museum. Do either of y'all have from the initiative or Peace Players? I always say Peace Project in my head, but Peace Players. Do y'all have any examples of young people who have shared their skills or you've seen them grow outside of your program where they completed it?
Well, I can speak to that some. Most of the young folks that we've worked with, we are still working with them currently. But what I can tell you is some of our older men, young men who started getting into the summer jobs and after school positions, what we found out with our check-ins with parents and guardians is that they are, demonstrating the skill of advocating for themselves, stronger communication, feeling more confident to share their thoughts and ideals. And those are things that we wouldn't necessarily see because we aren't in their workspaces with them, but we have heard from a guardian who let us know that some of the skills that we had worked on inside of our sessions had translated to them being stronger in their workspaces. So that was really great. You're very affirming and a great example of just how what we do within our spaces transcend far beyond.
Fantastic, appreciate that. Okay. All right, I'll go to Toya.
So I know prior to me starting, there was a young lady who was a leadership development participant, and she participated in the summer program along with the Youth Works. So she got to work with some of the kids at the Oliver Community Center and just teach them, basketball skills as well as some of the leadership development skills. And I believe that fall she went on to, I think she went to Poly and tried out for the basketball team, and she made it. And she, she basically said a lot of it was due to the experience that she had in the summer in regards to just having that confidence in her skills and her ability to lead, and being able to go out there and do what she needed to do during tryouts.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so I think I don't see any other questions, so I think we are going to wrap up. I actually want to share this comment that I just saw on our Facebook Live that says, it's from Miss Iris Offset Reed, that says, she has children that have been a part of programs involving Dr. Martin, Mama Deborah, Baba Bunjo, and they enjoy sharing what they've learned with their peers and family members. Growing Griots is an excellent program. She just shared that on Facebook.
All right.
So yeah. Appreciate y'all for sharing y'all time, energy, and space with us this evening for our first public event, I think, during this coronavirus pandemic. We are going to definitely be doing more of these. If you are watching tonight and you found this information useful, I strongly encourage that you share the information with other people in your network. We're going to be doing another one of these tomorrow evening with more youth programs here in Baltimore. If you have any questions about what the Youth Fund is working on or any events coming up, go to bcyfund.org. If you have questions for me or the community engagement team, you can reach me at ajackson@bcyfund.org. And yeah, thank y'all again for coming tonight. Appreciate y'all for your insight and your programs and all the great work you do with our young people here in Baltimore City.
All righty.
All right. Peace. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Peace and blessings.
Okay.